The sons and daughters of this beautiful motherland we call home, Uganda. Thank you very much for watching the Checkmate 256. We are here yet again to bring you the news that made headlines in this week that we just concluded, and we thank you for choosing us as your number one source of what has been happening in this country that you call home. And even when you're a well-wisher and you're not a Ugandan and you're watching this and you want to know what is taking place in Uganda, you are in the right place, and thank you for being part of the making. I'm here with my friend, the one and only Prince of Chitagata, Uncle Nicholas. How are you today?
Very good, Harold. How are you doing?
Very well. You had a good week?
Very good.
We have a lot to unpack today, and we'll be telling you a little bit of what happened here and there on all the four corners of this country, which actually does not have the south.
Yeah, south is a lake-ish.
Part of it.
That's southwest.
So for the north, central, south, and east of this country, we'll tell you how some candidates in our elections have turned out to be independent, with the Electoral Commission and the UNEP having a role to play. We'll tell you more about that. We'll also tell you about the NUP candidates and the role between the NUP, the National Unity Platform, and the NBS, one of the major mainstream TV channels. We'll also take you on the campaign trail and tell you about how Museveni covered and concluded as of Friday the Busoga sub-region with the last rally in Jinja in Buyende. And also we'll also tell you about Honorable Chagulanyi trailing and covering parts of Arua and the West Nile. We'll also tell you about people who are arrested and how the rallies went and the crowds and how it all went down in that area. We will also cross and share what is now a little bit common, but this on the extreme side, what happened with the Mpigi Express Highway. We'll also tell you about how the cost has risen to up to 500%. And finally, we will also tell you about the money that has been released for the parish development model. Can talk about a little bit of the people that have been pardoned by the president, the former prisoners, and we will cover all that in this episode of the Checkmate. Welcome to the Checkmate 256, and we thank you for tuning in. Right, story number one, Nicholas.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that made news was some candidates were declared independent. And it was a declaration that came after the intervention of the Electoral Commission, after some petitions have been made by the competitors or some vigilant Ugandans. Special mention goes to Honorable Nyamtoro, one of the state ministers who was declared independent, and also a gentleman called King James Atwine, who has been standing with the state minister for agriculture, that is Bright Rwamirama, was also kicked out of the race, and the honorable minister declared as unopposed. Same as Honorable Nyamtoro. We have heard, and among the things that made news, that there was a voice note that leaked where they were cooking this whole thing. We also want to remind Ugandans that there was a petition that was filed by one of the candidates for Nakawa West. I don't know how they even say it, because that's one of the things that are in contention. One of the candidates, Bowe Ivan, filed a petition in the Electoral Commission complaining that he should be declared unopposed because the rest of the candidates that include the leader of opposition, Joel Senyonyi, and Rambiti and some other candidates, I think there are around 4, that they filled in Nakawa West, which is a non-existent municipality. What we are looking at is the Electoral Commission using technicalities to lock out candidates, specifically on a major point, saying that their seconders later come to deny them. The discussion in the media has been, Nicholas, that people are accessing the information to say if Nicholas was a candidate, who seconded him? Then they will go, if he was seconded by Harold, they come and approach Harold, whether they intimidate or incentivize with money. And then all you have to say is, I did not second that person. And then people are being knocked out and people are getting a free card as unopposed. That's one of the stories that made the deadlines. Let's hear you weigh in on it.
Thank you so much, Harold. And good day, our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Checkmate. And as usual, we bring you the top stories that came through the week. And this week, this is one of the top stories. And Harold, as we discuss this, I want us to discuss exactly why a candidate's desperate. We have seen it
to be independent,
to be declared independent. We have seen it from pre-nomination. Yeah. We had the Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Anita Among.
Yeah, Anita Among.
First of all, looking out candidates. Some of the candidates having been previous leaders of the area of the woman MP of Busoga. Yeah, previous leaders, they were degazetted because of flimsy excuses and what we suspected and said here on this podcast.
There was some foul play.
There was some foul play and some influencing the EC, judiciary, file petitions. They were thrown out and everything. And even those who managed to make it on nomination day, they were locked out. And you remember the whole saga about the NUP lady who was now declared by NUP that now this is our candidate after the others being degazetted. After they unveiled her, she disappeared for weeks. Videos came out, speculations. Has she been paid? Was it a plot from Anita Among? And then she resurfaces. From then, nominations happened and we thought, okay, now fair and square, it's now a competition. But we have seen since then, like Harold has said, Nyamutoro, there's an attempt by Daudi Kabanda.
That's true.
And some people from Mubende, Bright Ramirama, and many others.
Many petitions that are still being handled.
You know?
And even some based on results, because we have the likes of Sechikubo still challenging who...
Yes. There's some based on results and academic qualifications. But this is why there is a new wave of people that definitely are desperate
to be unopposed.
The first and I think the biggest factor is the commercialization of politics. With reports saying that to win a constituency, you need upwards north of 800 million, 1 billion. Others go to 1 point, so a lot of money. I think it is a better shortcut, even if I was the one that
I would rather channel the money in making sure that I'm unopposed to avoid the expense.
Because yesterday or the other day, the people complaining from Kasanda and Mubende district were saying that their seconders were being paid 30 million shillings. And these people, out of love, because Harold is my candidate, I love him, I seconded him, were now calling and saying, Harold, please,
if I give you 30 million.
These guys are giving us 30 million. Please, can you raise 30 million so that I stay as your seconder?
Yeah.
So, if all you need is to just get one seconder to say that I was forced to, and then we shall come later to the role of EC in proving, is to say that I was forced to sign. Or I did not sign. I don't know how these guys got my signature, and you pay 30 million. 2 becomes 60 million.
You see,
if you have an extra 100, you probably bring it to the adjudicators of the matter at EC. So the whole process that should have taken you 800 million, you have sorted
it with 250 million
with
and
150, 200
and a balance for a victory party
and
that are unopposed.
A balance for a victory party here and there. That is one of the reasons. Number 2, definitely should have been the first one, is fear of competition. Sure. If today I saw the husband boyfriend of Nyamutoro saying that they won the primary, the second candidate had won the second candidate by 40,000 votes, then the third by a big percentage. So what was this NUP candidate thinking? So he's not the most intelligent person, but his thinking was because we won by a lot.
He's a simple man.
He's a simple man, but very talented simple man. He was thinking, but because we won by a lot, then his interpretation is that we were unopposed from the beginning because we won by a lot. So the question is, if Nyamutoro is popular, if that is how you allege that we are popular, in the primary we won by over 40,000 votes, the second candidate, why are you afraid of competition?
Why are you afraid of competition?
Why don't you let the electorate decide?
The story that was done by the Daily Monitor, part of it read that Justice Simon Byabakama, the EC chairperson, declared Ms. Nyamutoro elected unopposed last Thursday after he cleared a petition that sought to nullify the nomination of her opponent, Mercy Rebecca Abidi Khan. Mr. Geoffrey Ongeia, one of the two petitioners who denied having, it's not even the candidates petitioning, it's one of the seconders who's maybe facilitated or comes and say, I saw myself as one of the seconders, I did not. Endorsed the candidature of Abdi Khan under the Unity Platform party flag is her uncle. That is even a relative of the... This is my issue, Nicholas, that this is illegal.
Very illegal.
This is procedurally improper because the exercise of verification that is supposed to be done by the Electoral Commission before declaring someone nominated includes verification of two things: the seconders, the signatures.
Yes.
And then of course now the academic qualification and anything else that they have presented. So if I've gone through the process, you have vetted everything, which of the basic should be confirmed from the seconders. And close that door. But now months later,
post-nomination.
Yes, post-nomination.
When there is no more window for competition to say.
Exactly, because the door is closed.
The door is closed.
You cannot reopen.
No.
You cannot reopen because the Constitution provides for it of what happens if, for example, someone passes on, like for a position of president, is that you will redo the nomination if there were two. But here what you're doing is that you are disenfranchising people by a technicality, which of course to an innocent eye is a cooked strategy. There's an agenda.
So Harold, you're the lawyer. What are the legal options of these people that are being taken out?
The first thing that they should do is that they should be challenging this process, because EC is sitting as a tribunal. Go and lodge a judicial review application at the civil division challenging this process where you are deleted. Because by the time EC declared you nominated, it is assumed that it has done all the verifications.
It's
and as far as your verification and everything you presented is concerned, it is functus officio. Its role remains in organizing the election as is. And any twist of the sections that provide for the powers of the EC and the tribunal, it is wrong, it is unconstitutional, and it is a disenfranchisement tool.
Another question, Harold. So the people that have influence enough to influence EC to use these under the table methods to disenfranchise thousands and take people out of the elections, do you think that they can get a fair day in court?
It's fair because we cannot right now amend the Parliamentary Elections Act to say, you know what, after nomination, if one of the candidates is disqualified, then we will do the nomination afresh, because someone looked at that lacuna in the law, and that's what they're trying to take advantage of. I will leave you, Nicholas, you will get nominated. Then I will use maybe money or influence, because we've seen some of these people that are being disqualified. The seconders were their relatives.
Yeah, but also the case of Bright Ramirama, where UNEB disqualifies someone, says their education certificates are insufficient, without even writing to them, without calling them for a fair adjudication of the matter. And the gentleman came with his teacher, said, my teacher is here and is saying I went through that school. What can they do in this kind of instance?
You see, we cannot discuss the danger is what you've already discussed and we've talked about, the politicization of institutions that should be serving all Ugandans. Nicholas, it's 2025. If someone comes to marry your daughter right now, there's no database right now where you would search and say, do they have an ongoing criminal case in Uganda? You can't find that out. Same as, what do you do of, there's no database to find out who studied where. Until now, you just take their certificate for verification. And that, the loopholes in the system now give chance to anyone who wants to politicize it to find loopholes and ride on them. Because why would UNEB be involved at a stage when, because one of the things before verification is that you take your certificates.
Yes.
They verify and confirm and certify, and then you take them to the Electoral Commission. Then in the aftermath of the nomination, they are coming to say, this is not a valid certificate or something like that in that case, because where are they coming in? What power do they have? You cannot even, of course, you can't talk about a fair hearing as far as maybe a case of forgery is concerned when they say this is an unexecuting, because they have the statutory power to say we issued this or we did not. It's not even a question of fair hearing as far as UNEB is concerned. It's what the EC is doing where we can talk about fair hearing and everything that should be in the natural justice flow to say, call someone if you have closed a matter. First of all, the biggest issue I actually have is that EC should be a party to those complaints, because it's the one that verified and nominated.
Yes.
But now it's the one making a verdict that actually makes it look bad with no sanctions whatsoever. It's leaving thousands of the people that we are seeing those people as candidates with no choice to look at, because someone does not want to go through a ballot exercise to be declared a winner.
And the obsession, this obsession of being independent, it has started to trickle from the top. And there is a section, if you notice well, from where it is coming from, maybe apart from Bright Ramirama, who naturally fears competition and is a terrorist of anyone who stands against. Actually, Isinjiro is one of the the hotspots in every election, because fights, burning cars, people getting hurt, a lot of danger, because that gentleman just is brute by nature, just doesn't want to go at all cost. There's a new crop of these people, especially the ones that are when you trickle down, you see that these are new people. The people had thought we were going to come to change the NRM from the new revolution. Inside. You have the speaker, you have the Kabandas, you have the Nyamutoros. You're thinking, okay, these are relatively young people.
Including one who was threatening to arrest people on X this week.
That one is a despicable person that is not worth mentioning on this honorable podcast, There is this obsession of, let's prove. And I think that they are auditioning in that manner. They are trying to audition either for positions in the NRM or for this whole thing that, no, in my constituency there is no.
I think it's something that people, you see, elites, there's it's unfair to say, but we can classify supporters of the yellow camp into around 4 or 5. Those who are directly benefiting from the system, either through the direct monetary benefit. Those who have relatives that are benefiting from the system, so the system works for them. Those who have, in a way, fear the absence of war. Fear war, so the classification of our parents and stuff. But it's on the number one that I wanted to emphasize, and I will use examples by mention of names, where the elites understand the faults. People who have even traveled, Nicholas. I will use an example of my brother and friend, Duncan Abigawa. When Duncan traveled and came back from the Citizenship Coalition, and then he was seen as an enemy and objective, and they were like, maybe this fallacy of people who want to change the name from
the inside
can happen. He tries to do sake, and he comes later and says, you know what, it's very expensive, I cannot handle. And he stays silent, and people are saying, what is he cooking? And then he's at the center of this unstoppable movement. And all along, people who are saying, maybe there are people who are objective within, it's just that they are trying to negotiate their meal card.
Let me tell you something, Harold. I don't know if I have so many friends that I know, not name names, in the yellow camp and everything at our age. But honestly speaking, everyone that I surely know is trying to scheme something that becomes, there's something in campus we used to call Mogati Party.
I remember that.
For them, those people had no party, no candidate. They would go where the bread is. So hence Mogati Party. So most of these cliques now, Unstoppable UG is what, sincerely, apart from trying to benefit from the money that is being released because of campaigns. But for them, they are Gen Z. These are all people who are 40. For them, they are Gen Zs from Museveni.
So you have a class of the Duncan Abigawas, people who lost primaries.
Yes. But
the Bagayas.
You see, for me, my problem now is with the Duncans, because honestly, they know better. He has been to better he has been to better societies
that have functioning systems
and whatever's. But you see, there's something that a friend of mine intimated, and he said that, you see, it's very hard out there. It's actually hard being out of the system when you have the mentality that I cannot survive minus the system.
Chidawalime is here.
That is the problem with so many people. They know the truth. They know what is going on. They can't condemn it. They become victims of it because they are afraid of what happens when the system spits me.
We digress and we have to cross.
But as we finish this, noticed a lot of similarities, Harold, when you read about what happened in 1980 in the Paul Mwanga election.
Yes, before.
It's blatant, overt. I mean, there can be some kind of connivance and whatever, but when it becomes overt and blatant and reaches this level of, okay, what can you do? And I'm waiting upon this Bowe
the ruling,
Nakawa West ruling. Honestly speaking, I see that Biabakama, like I said to some friends, it's already by sure they're becoming the second Paulo Mwanga. But I hope that the consequences of the 1980 elections, we don't get to see them. We don't get to see them.
Yes, I understand. So it's something that we'll wait to see for what will unfold. I think it's unfair. I think it's procedurally improper. And I think that the EC should close the door. Maybe if you're talking about change of reforms, maybe one of the things is that once nominated, it's because you've done the verification and you close it at that. At least if there was a cap for petitions.
Because most of these people have petitioned court. Let's hope that he can have a fair day in court.
I get you.
And hold the EC to account.
Second story that made a lot of headlines in the news and on social media was the row between NUP and the NBS, self-dubbed as the Political Command Center. And the row started when NBS organized debates for different candidates, and mostly from Kampala Metropolitan. And there has been a no-show for the NUP candidates. NUP as a party, if we recall and take it a little bit back, is that in 2021, His Excellency Kyagulanyi wrote a letter to NBS expressing dissatisfaction that it was aiding and abetting election malpractices. And even some of the former employees of NBS came out to say, I think we remember a gentleman called Walubembe, who did a post to say that NBS had hoodwinked Ugandans to say that they were running a tally center, whereas there was none, and that there's no way they would have received results even faster than the EC was receiving, and that it was all a ploy to deceive Ugandans into acceptance of cooked up results. So that row continued, and NUP, including message from Kyagulanyi, the Secretary General, even notable figures within, basically saying that there's an agenda against NUP, especially even in the design. The producer will post some of the headlines that were shot at in the format of the headlines. NUP bajigobye Masaka, waliwo ababaka abagala okunafuya NUP yandifuuka olufuumo, buli mubaka awaya akakadde buli mwezi, to say that all those headlines are designed to put NUP on the defensive, and it does not get a fair coverage. The further complaint from the NUP was that in the format of the news, there was no coverage of the NUP candidate in at least the first 3 or 4 stories of their news bulletin, or even the special segment that they've been having for Uganda Decides, that airs before 9 and their prime time news. NBS answers back and of course says that King Kalisa came out to say, hey, tell us where we are unfair, and then we see how to correct the error, and that we report. Of course, some other employees like Samson Kasumba were coming up to say, if you say that we are biased, how come you appear for the other political talk shows, and then you don't want to come for debates, you're denying people the old rules of democracy, etc. And we had a lot of say about that from different people in the media space. Please.
The most successful strategy of the NRM in the past 5 years, very successful, and we must applaud for the brains behind it, was to always make sure that they put NUP on the defensive. That the burden of proof for anything, if the debate is about roads, instead of someone asking what has NRM done for the past 40 years,
they will say the area councillor is NUP.
But the MPs of Kampala, NUP, people of Chira, Semujunganda has been there, he's opposition. You know?
Or they will post the son of His Excellency Bobby Wine on a beach.
And say the
you
man
guys
is
are
enjoying.
suffering.
This one is so successfully. the government has managed Museveni and his cronies to put NUP on the stand and to make the burden of proof in every conversation NUP. And the biggest contributors to these conversations, these diversions, this deliberately crafted plan has been NBS, the political command center. Come on.
Next media.
You're not commanding anything. You know, when you blatantly become biased, become subjective towards certain sections of society.
But what's your basis of bias?
Yeah, I am coming. I am building my point, you know. And I'm going to give you examples, you know. For example, I'm going to give you 2 examples. The first one, NRM had elections 2 consecutively. The party primaries that were mad with violence,
and then that
were mad with people coming out saying they have been robbed out, everything. Shortly after the SEC election, we saw Todong counting 20, 30, 40, 60, 80.
Like a crescent crane.
Yes.
From 2 to 1.
You know? Then the Yomunsis who are SEC members saying we have been robbed out. The stories of Basajabara about taking candidates and hiding them in a hotel in Nairobi. And King Caesar, actually someone told me this story, it was so funny. King Caesar.
Yeah, it sounded like a Nigeria actually.
King Caesar was moving around with bags of money, looking for people to give money.
There was no one to receive.
There was none of the delegates that vote on that entrepreneur thing was around. Like, you have your money, you're looking for guys to say, you have no delegates to campaign to. They're in Nairobi, sleeping comfortably, eating in a hotel. You know, so many things. I never saw any time.
I digress. I saw that gentleman, Basajabara, talking about on the burial of the mother, the health sector. Maybe we'll dig a little bit into that.
I never had any time. NBS and its sister, you know, it has so many things. It has Sanyuka, Ensunsuzi, Bichi, Samka Radio, XFM, not XFM, whatever, if you know, call
next.
But you must to say, you said you were cheated out, we had your cry. Call Kadaga, you know, or run stories that
represent the picture in the yellow camp.
In the yellow camp, you know, but the moment
the card KB.
The NUP card came out. Let me tell you, the host, the visitors on that was everyone who NUP denied the card. And effectively, either they never got someone who was denied the card and accepted and said, okay, this is my party. I put down my tools. I want to mobilize for the president. No. David Musiri, Adan Sewanyana, Segona, of course the DF clique, every reject.
Roy Semboga.
Every reject who has not given a card. Either some of them were appearing on in that morning thing,
the morning breeze.
Then they appear on the radio sometime. There's that radio that records podcasts where Frank Gashumba is always at with Kungu. Then next you find them on the front line. Then they are here.
Barometer extra.
It is honestly speaking, this is properly curated. You have the Samson Kasumbas coming out overtly, taking sides.
Some side they sell attention. So don't they only go for things that they sell attention because it's a media house?
I have given you those 2 instances, you know, and that thing that you have shared, I think our producer is going to put it on the screen. No Pabajigobye Masaka, question mark. You know, you said that when they were inviting this gentleman Javira to debate to debate Mpuga.
Yes.
The topic was, can Mpuga survive the NUP wave? Can you imagine?
The last headline on that reads Cat Principle.
Cat Principle one NUP tadi bwamu. Let me ask, has Museveni said the thing as Zemo Museveni? If Museveni right now says Kadaga, I don't want you like he said, and Kadaga was Museveni Mamudamu, when have you heard it that
it's a center of discussion?
But I don't know why NUP attracts, and this conversation has not been spread by anyone. Actually, they because they have so many leaflets, so many branches. They have like 2 radios, I think. Then there's Sanyuka, Smani Prime, Smani. Then the NBS. The NBS itself has many news segments. The Morning Breeze. I don't know, is it Morning Breeze or that's there's something in the morning somewhere, and then in the night. Then after 5. And they host the conversation, actually I think they do, the conversation now changes and focuses on now NUP is the one defending itself. Mpuga has clearly stolen and taken 500 million. Yes, you can say that the parliament has passed it, but what is the spirit of taking this money?
How should the NUP handle this, Nicholas?
The NUP should handle this the way it has handled it. Boycott. In April, when the Honorable Chagulanyi went for an exclusive, I was disappointed. These are the same people that you said were biased. You know? You wrote a letter. They're not, it's not even just about, there was evidence of bias. There was evidence that they were bringing.
There's an agenda.
They were reading results. When the results, where they are coming from, there's a lady who said, I was at this polling station, they are still calculating. I see online that 100% has been received from my district. But we are still on the polling station. It has not even reached district level. But these guys on NBS are saying that we are the political command center, we are the tally center, and we have received 100% from, say, a beam. Yet people are still, tallying votes. So this kind of thing of bias, when you notice it, how should NUP respond? It should be total boycott. NBS is not the only TV station that can broadcast the message of NUP. If these people have become
Nicholas, let me ask
deliberately taken sides, if they are presenters,
did it shift when
you have seen the animosity of Kagwanjara towards NUP, Samson Kasumba towards NUP, Zambali, when he was still there, he was pro-NUP, saying Bobi Wine is my president. Yesterday you were seeing Bagaya, she's expired, but I mean,
former,
so is this a place where, apart from Zambali, okay, of course, even when he was generally saying that Bobi Wine is his president, that was wrong to take sides, but this is not a place that NUP should expect, to a point that it's now has gone beyond covert to become overt. When they put that empty space and put
a red cap
and put a red cap on a seat. This is extreme, Harold. This is extreme.
To send a message of these ones are not participating.
And or animosity. Even the NRM candidate, Minsa Kavanda, who has been the minister of Kampala, who should be asking questions. That is the person that the people should be saying Minsa should be here because she has been in charge of Kampala. She can veto decisions that are made by the council and by the mayor and by everything. That should have been Kavanda should have been the person to be present, to say your policies that you have passed in the past 5 years. Why do we have floods? Why is the city like this? Oyo muntu gwe balina okuteekako amaanyi ne bagamba date the former minister, the person who has been minister of Kampala.
Those who are not in Uganda, I hope you know that we flooded twice. Downtown flooded twice this week.
That was the person that was supposed to come to the show, but everything, because NUP is on the
defensive.
On the defensive. Everything is NUP. Everything is Rubongoya. Everything is Bobi Wine. Everything is. I don't know if this is because Amasanyana is a Jegava, so they get clout when they talk about it, or it's because, but sometimes I think it's because NUP is an easy target.
This is my last one on this one, Nicholas. Did Next Media hoodwink Ugandans to say this was an independent, or something changed when there was, for example, a shift from Kamocha to Naguru? Because if you remember the NBS that we were talking about, then at that time, it was indeed the political command center. If you're saying, if what you're saying is true, it's either a story of they realized they can't fight a system, they made a call and said, you know what, we can't fight the system. You would rather join the system and still sell because this is also a private company.
I want that is a no, because you see, the media industry, especially in Uganda, is not different from the telecommunications industry, because you can say that there are two main stations or companies, the Nation Media and then you have Next Media. When two companies are predominant in a market economy, like say Airtel and MTN, they run under a market structure called oligopoly. Now oligopoly is almost a monopoly.
That's true.
It's almost a monopoly, which means that when you don't use Airtel, you have to use MTN. So they are just two monopolies. But because that's now not monopoly, but it's an oligopoly. So if NBS stayed true and objective, It means that coverage will either be on NTV or NBS. There is nowhere else that an elite Ugandan will go to BB. So I want to digress in saying that they did not want to fight, or something happened, they didn't want to fight this. But this is what I believe happened, is that Museveni is a very wise gentleman. And in trying to lay a hold on power, when he said he will not have opposition
by 2026
or 2021, thereabouts, he had noticed this, that if the government, the executive, can lay its hold on the judiciary, which it has done, I mean, you have cadre judges now, outrightly.
I fear to nod on those points, but
please don't nod, because some of these people you're going to find them in your practice. We have a lot of instances of people passing judgments, keeping people in. So if the judiciary,
you saw the statement that the prisons released on Sauda Madada.
Yes.
On the health and such a person brought to court in that state.
Someone is coughing blood, honestly speaking. And this is someone that has not been arraigned in the time that they're supposed to be arraigned. Charges have not been read to them. Were they?
They were, because they were coming up for bail.
But someone is coughing, but someone which is at that level. But the question is,
and prisons has the guts to say, actually, she was unwell, but they thought she was
ready for court. But the question is, what is happening behind the closed door that makes someone come to court vomiting blood?
Also, the bigger question is, why are these people not getting bail?
Why are they not getting bail? So you have the judiciary compromised, you have the legislature compromised,
you have the police,
the fourth estate, of course the security forces, those ones are under the NRA line. What is word? So the other thing that you have to lay hold of is the fourth estate, is to say, and this is the tool for every propaganda regime.
Control the narrative in every newsroom.
The narrative, because controlling the narrative of the newsroom is controlling the people. That's why Monitor must forever remain the bad paper. The bad paper, not covering parliament, not covering the state house events. In a way, they want to reduce their influence. Why? Because we must come to a point where we curate what people see. We determine what people perceive. We put out the narrative that people put out. And so many Ugandans have gone to this, especially about NUP. I don't know why everyone thinks NUP is an easy target.
Have you imagined Uganda's political landscape without the influence of NUP?
Someone yesterday was saying on social media, a funny story, that if Bobi Wine had not come, the Honorable Kyagulanyi, our leading
opposition
would be Mao. Now imagine Mao. Imagine Mao. And other people are saying now is Maogo, meaning bread. But going forward, NUP should continue its hold and say we shall not participate where you want to use us as content, and then make everything.
Call us in 2 minutes.
Have you seen the way they are now? Lucy is and I think this is the reason why I can never become maybe a regime apologist. Honestly speaking, how can I wake up one day and think that there is a world where Abraham Lucy, Sarah is tall, is a better legislator, it can legislate better than David Lewis Rubongo? Honestly speaking, okay, let's put aside, Because even when we talked about Segona and this artist,
yes,
Walukaga, our point was not that Walukaga can legislate better than Segona. We not like he can speak better English than Segona. Our point was that he was chosen on the basis of loyalty. Segona had dined with the enemy for long. You understand? So he had lost the loyalty, which is the same thing we said Museveni used in sake to say the loyal ones, or the ones that he can, are the ones that are close. So this is not about performance. If it was about performance, the Sedusas would not have been sidelined. The Matembes would not have been sidelined. So this is not about competence anymore, even for NRM, but it's about loyalty. Matembe is not going to further your agenda of thieving or whatever. She's going to come out and speak against it. So push aside. So Segona is not a better. Wakaga can never be in any world a better legislator than Segona,
of course.
But if a party is choosing a candidate that represents its views,
ideas, and will defend it to the world,
will defend it, will not be a sellout. Nobody was more competent in NUP than these of Mpigi. Very competent people, honestly speaking, experienced at all levels. But if you're going to start to go in bed with a persecutor like the speaker, who is persecuting the party, who's trying to buy out everyone, who's trying to do this,
how do you expect the party not to?
Then the party will just
delete you
and put you aside. So now Abraham Luzi is the new kid on the block in the morning, in the afternoon, on radio.
But that's what democracy is about, Nicholas.
Even people...
But that's what democracy is about.
No,
come sell your face. Whoever believes you, that's it.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, even the blind should see. Or maybe they will not.
One last question on this issue, please. Nicholas. We have been seeing the discussion of that NUP should maybe, if it thinks that NBS is biased, let it boycott for good. It also spilled into another discussion to say that NUP NUP participating in elections as they are, with no reforms that were commanded by the Supreme Court, with the way things are here, with the way EC is set, it is sort of being used as a tool by the regime to legitimize its dictatorship through a sham process.
Harold.
And that, let me finish, that it should boycott it.
Harold, let me tell you the story of 1980. In 1980,
now you sound like an old man.
Yes,
but proceed.
Yes, it's in 1980. Of course, this is by reading,
by document,
and really by the experience of those who are around. You know, in 1980, the election of 1980 and the happenings thereof are what legitimized Museveni to say we have been cheated out of the election. Let's find another route. There is no way right now. If the Honorable Kyagulanyi was not in this election, and we're going to talk about the campaign trail after this, we would not be knowing that Arua, Yumbe, Nebi, Koboko, he can command such crowds, because propagandists told us that Bobi Wine's party, the National Unity Platform, is the second coming of Kabaka Yeka, and is a tribal unity. And I'm glad that I don't know if I should say this here. I'm glad that the Buganda people walked away. I'm glad that the Buganda people walked away from Bobi Wine, but he still commands. So now you cannot say that he's the Buganda Kabaka Yeka, because clearly
even Mengo has been.
I'm talking about Mengo. Okay. Mengo has really run away because of Ebiafe and whatever they were promised or got, and in some way. Bobi Wine, by the way, is feeding two people significantly.
Bobi Wine is not a Mengo candidate. That's very clear.
Yes, significantly, Bobi Wine is feeding two people, or has brought the dreams of two groups, actually three, to become, for their dreams to become true. Three groups. One, Mengo. You know, guys, some people have been calling him the RDC of Mengo. The cathedral is called who?
Charles Peter
Maiga. Mengo has gotten part of its bargain because a Muganda rose up and shook the NRM. Number two, the musicians. These were dusty people in any kind. These were dusty people. These were a person as I don't want to use mean words, but a person as with the intellectual capacity of Kenzo. There is no world where they are supposed to speak. Where the relevance
beyond a stage performance.
Beyond a stage. Wamidu, yes, do, let me do. You know?
Now they command.
That should be the level that Eddie Kenzo should be at. But because Bobi Wine has come up and an artist, he has brought relevance, and he is now all these people are on the milk card of Bobi Wine. They Bebe Cool, and sometimes I feel sad for Bebe Cool and Chameleon. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be people that they're supposed to be people that people
that
look up
have
to.
Pruned their art
that should be beyond that. I get my bread from advocating for a government. These are people that have been on the top of the music sector for so long. They're supposed to be role models. They're supposed to have enough to not want the crumbs that fall off the NRM table, but they are there. The third is the ghetto people, and those ones I'm happy for them really, because there was absolutely nothing.
Relevancy was picked.
There was absolutely nothing that was going to the ghetto people until
Bobby Wine rose. So what I'm saying is that participating in this election alone, even if the victory might be denied or they, I mean, you've had the army come up and say, you vote, go home and sleep. How the vote will be protected, how... That's not on you.
Not on you. For you, you vote, go. We shall tell you how it turned out. Can you imagine? You know, so participating in this election is the same way Museveni participated in 1980. Now, I'm not saying that there's a plot to say if you steal from us. No, it's going to show that, of course, Museveni was not this candidate that was rigged out. Yeah?
Museveni was like a Katumba in that
definitely
election.
The Democratic Party and Semogerere were rigged out of the 1980 elections.
Definitely.
And the ripple effect, if the election had not happened, it would not have legitimized the Museveni war, because the supporters, most of the supporters of Kawanga Semogerere, the DP bloc, had been Baganda from traditionally. Remember the Baganda DP? Yeah? That's why Museveni's conflict therefore had to be in Buganda. Museveni could not start his conflict from Ankole, from
where Nyamurunga was loved as Obote.
These were UPC strongholds.
Yes,
so
that's true.
His war had to start from Buganda. Why?
Because they were disgruntled.
They were disgruntled, first
and
of all.
And they didn't care who was fighting the system, as long as you were...
Between Kabaka and the Mutesa one,
yes.
Mutesa and Obote one, in 1966, the crisis, they are not forgotten that.
They hadn't.
Now, secondly, when they overwhelmingly supported DP, they were rigged out. So therefore, that's why Ruero Triangle had to be Ruero Triangle. So every brick, Harold, that is added on
has results.
Has a certain kind of result.
Might not be a grand result, but there's a result.
The result might not be in the immediate, because people who advocate that are trying to see something in the immediate, that okay, participating in the elections, you're going to be rigged out again. There was despicable NBS people were saying, okay, you don't want to participate in a debate because you think we are unfair, but you're participating in an election which is adjudicated, but you don't understand. That is Kagwirao thinking. National building is, let me tell you, a time is going to come when the things that Besigye did, God bless him, wherever he is, are the stepping stones of things that are going to happen in the near future. That without the stepping stone that Besigye laid,
Besigye's politics shaped opposition.
That's why in the Bible, Paul says that I laid the foundation.
Apollos watered.
This is a journey. This is a step. And everything that happens leads you to this kind of thing. So
if we were to discuss a little bit of political science on this issue, Nicholas, for these guys' dictatorships, there is no revolution or results that have come for a change, not through the ballot, that have not come in an aftermath of an election. And Ugandans must know that.
Yes, you can say that again to Ugandans so they can hear it one more time.
There's no, for this guy's dictatorships, there's no change of guard that has come that has not been immediately after an aftermath of a sham election.
Yes. I mean, in the
Arab yes. I can give you 12 years because this is just sheer political science.
98. Bashir here had 90-something %.
Kenya, everything. Mali, everything that we can talk about. So sometimes the election and the election results might not have a bearing, but it's leading closer to delivering change.
Yes.
And what you were discussing of what happened in 1980, to say that some people will say,
yes.
And sometimes it's a reality of the political change. Not saying that that's going to happen in Uganda, but it's a possibility, and it has 1,000 precedents in history that sometimes even a leader like Bobi Wine knows that even when I am cheated out, it can make people boil up to say enough is enough.
Yes.
And they've seen civil uprisings come because of how elections have been handled. You can never get that result through a boycott.
Yes.
Because the results of, if we do the study of main opposition leaders who have chosen the role of boycott in an election, vis-a-vis the results they have received through boycott, versus those who have chosen to participate in
and show the world the picture.
The climax of the dictatorship through an election and lead to an uprising. The latter have more better and bigger results.
They do.
So that's one of the things that people need to look at as they discuss and try to make opposition members defend their participation instead of making someone who is in power make the leveled ground
Harold,
for the elections.
As we conclude this topic, because I see our producer is looking at us. Imagine NUP had boycotted this election. What happens is that the main opposition candidate is Mubarak Munyagwa Mugatigwa Bata. He's the main opposition candidate. So Branton, therefore, the ruling party has everything it wants to do.
Because if we were discussing that some of the opposition candidates were already cooked by the regime, I think it was in anticipation of if they boycott, we can still proceed.
But this is the thing, is that if you go to Arua, Nebi, Moyo, wherever the Honorable Chagulanyi has been this week, people come out in large numbers amidst intimidation, amidst arrests.
Skipping.
There were some arrests. Today they skipped, today Friday, they skipped heaps of soil that were deterring them to go to the designated venue. Nefarious tactics, you know, but people managed to come out in very large numbers. And I think this has been an encouragement not only to NUP but to every change-seeking voice in Uganda to say that. Tell people
we're actually already discussing our third topic of the campaign trail.
I think we can
just proceed. Yes. We'll talk about Museveni in the Busoga sub-region and also Bobi Wine in the West Nile region and Muntu, who is also, I think, in the northeast, and the silence that people are talking about of the silence, and then Munyagwa and Alama Fabi. So let's just continue as we just transition to our third topic.
Yes. So for today or yesterday, he was telling people, I think yesterday, that thank you guys for coming. We don't have money, we don't have money
to give you.
If we had money, everyone here would be in a free t-shirt. This will be a sea of red, like you have seen seas of yellow. And t-shirts being given to school children, to church women, to groups of civil servants, to wherever.
And letters.
And letters being written, official letters that
by chief administrative officers, RDCs, district, the DEOs, district education officers.
So that already shows that NUP is trying to achieve the national appeal. When you aggregate, of course, is yet to come to here to Uganda region. But when you aggregate what we saw in Busoga, and then the east and
the west,
and the west, and now the northwest, you start to get a picture that NUP is not just a tribal party or the extension of Kabaka Yeka. You start to understand that now NUP is starting to command a national appeal. That's why perhaps Nyamutoro had to run out of trying to do everything necessary to run out of the election, because you're saying
can be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the crowds in Nebi. If you're powerful and you should be
why is the main opposition commanding such crowds?
Why should why should and why should we use underhanded methods of paying people off to get off the ballot, trying to twist them, paying their secondas, if you are strong enough? So that is one. But number two, about the crowds that we see on the campaign trail now, is that these are generic crowds.
Not cooked.
Nobody has been promised transport. Nobody has been promised to go home safe. That is actually the first thing, is that your
attendance is a risk.
You don't know if you're going to go back home with your border. You don't know if you're going to go back home safe. There were arrests, I think, yesterday or the other day. And the police can ambush you anytime, no weapon, nothing. Civilians exercising their right of association and assembly, and they are ambushed and taken and distributed across the country. Bogus charges read against them, bail denied, and you're cooked for 4 years. Those are possibilities. But ask yourself, and this is what the NRM needs to do, ask yourself why someone is willing to, against the heap of all the possibilities,
come and camp outside a hotel where such a person
so I don't know. Museveni, I know him for being a very, very intelligent and strategic person, but these are questions that him and his inner circle, he'll leave the sycophants who are feeding off the actually some of them are happy that, I mean, without this strong opposition, I think then even the NRM members would be unhappy. That's why there was this whole thing that maybe Bobi Wine was a formation of, because without a strong opposition, security people will not eat.
Sure.
These people,
the advisors,
mobilizers, nobody would be eating, because I mean, you're running against Munyagwa or Mao, who is, up to nothing. But a strong opposition helps to feed.
Jimmy Akena was crying that he was locked out of the nomination.
We'll talk about that at some point, about what does that mean? Is he king in the north like Jon Snow? Can he sway the election in favor of
UPC?
Does he still hold? Is he Jimmy Akena Obote, or is just Jimmy Akena? I think maybe if we have some time on the next episode, we can discuss that on detail. But these are generic crowds. No one has been paid. Okay, they have a few artists that come by. No one has been given a t-shirt. No one has been promised anything, but they show up. I mean, it's all intimidation.
I saw a very sad video that's been making round on social media, where there was a gentleman in a truck. I think part of the things is that the truck was being used as one of the campaign trucks for Museveni, the president, and it was carrying some posters. And the gentleman was in a yellow t-shirt, and unfortunately he got involved in an accident. And after getting involved in an accident, as people rushed to the truck to help, they found him in a yellow t-shirt, and they started to take videos crying that we can't help you because you're in a yellow t-shirt.
Harold, I think that one is despicable, and as people we must
condemn
humanity.
that.
But
yes,
ask yourself, what is the genesis? What is the genesis? The genesis of that kind of thing is this intimidate. Have you seen people coming in your t-shirts? They were doing it here with Senyo.
Yes, where they held a rally. Yes,
that is that kind of intimidation and that kind of thing of saying police has been, because now at this level, Harold, it's not about me helping you are in an accident. It is about my brother who was abducted yesterday by people who are on your side. It's now it's getting personal, and the politics of, I was shocked, and I was asking someone how Museveni was fighting Obote for 5 years, and Museveni's parents were living here. Amos Kaguta was here.
They knew where they were.
Kokundeka, the mother was here. The uncles, the Ruchikire were, sorry, the father, the late father of Winnie. The Byanyimas were here, where Museveni had patched for a long time. So I kept wondering, how would Obote, do you think that if you went to something like that happened right now, that Bobby Kyagulanyi would but that maybe the parents of Bobby Wine would stay living?
Muntu was in the bush fighting, and his father was...
Yes, his father was serving in the government.
Yes.
When he was in the bush serving.
Yes.
There was a certain separation of, these are issues, this is personal. And what happened to tilt the war in the favor of Museveni was the government now came down personal on the people of Ruwero and Buganda to say, you're supporting. So they came and scorched us. If they know rebels were camped here, these guys fed them, read what they come, they kill everyone. So everyone now runs to the protection bush. Now is with Museveni.
Yes.
Is with the rebels, the bandits.
In the aftermath of the election, if it finds a divided nation, it's very hard to glue it together again. In the aftermath,
we are neighbors. We are, and I like this for some. I mean, we disagree with a lot of
people, but we take tea with them and have conversations.
We work with them. We do business. They bring opportunity, but fundamentally, we say on fundamental principles.
As far as the country is concerned,
as far as this is concerned,
we disagree with ABCDE. Or I agree with this and this.
Yeah.
Now we switch to the fourth story, Nicholas. This is a sad one. It is the Mpigi Express Highway. And the news is that it has stalled. It was supposed to be completed in September 2025. And the cost has raised by 500%.
5 times.
To put that in context, let me start with the statistics before we go to this road. Constructing 1 kilometer of tarmac in Uganda should be costing between 2.8 to 3.7. That is actually among the highest in Africa.
3.7 billion, that's $1 million.
Yes. Because if you compare with our neighbors in Kenya, that's around 1 billion Uganda shillings to construct a kilometer. In Rwanda, around 1.2. In Nigeria, around 1. In Uganda, our average is between 2.8 to 3.7. Nicholas, the Mpigi Express Highway on the costing, each kilometer will be valued at 487 billion. Let's start from that point.
Uganda, this is a very, very, very criminal and ungodly case. Because everything in Uganda, and I think people saw with the concessions of Umeme, people are now discovering how criminal Umeme was. So many things that they said they had done are not done, and that's why the load shedding, people are now complaining these days, these particular days, how load shedding is now back. It's because Umeme was a phantom, you know, and we had no oversight to see are the things they said they are going to do done. And when you look at the manner in which they were even cashed out, you know, you can clearly see that there was a big hand behind it. Someone wanted that a payoff. Sure. You know? But then the question is, why is every deal in Uganda badly negotiated? This is a criminal case, and someone should, the Solicitor General, Attorney General, I don't know how some of these deals go through these processes, and there is absolutely no check. There is absolutely nothing, and the spirit behind them is anti-Ugandan, is not patriotic. And I was telling some people this week that the next generation of people that are going to liberate this country are not going to be intellectuals, because intellectuals have actually failed this country. Nobody speaks better English than these people that sit in these offices, you know.
Traveled,
studied in good schools, good gentlemen,
unpatriotic.
But unpatriotic. What happens on this road is that the defunct UNRWA rushes to hand out a contract
to two companies in a joint venture.
Chinese companies in a joint venture. I think the original was it 479 or 500?
The original was 547.
And 47, thereabouts.
But that has risen to...
Yes. Why does it rise, Harold?
The due cost will be 1.9 trillion Uganda shillings from 547 billion.
It rises because, one, by the time they hand over the site, the engineers have not come out with the designs. The engineers have not come out with the designs.
They signed the contract and handed
over.
Yes.
When you hand over the site, there is a daily cost, because the contractor will bring machinery, there is wear and tear. They will bring people, they are thrown in experts. They have to sleep, they have to eat, they have to be paid. They are waiting for you to do what?
To hand over the site.
Hand over the site,
yes.
you know. So when these people hand over the site, before they do all these things, the daily charge, according to some reports, that I think Saturday Monitor reported about it some time ago, was 300 million shillings per day. Can you imagine?
So the suspensed damages per day.
There's a legal term they call it, the abbreviation.
So the contractor is receiving 300 million per day because the employer has failed to hand over site and to commence the contract that was signed.
And that is not the end of it. So that money is being paid per day. 300 million shillings is being paid per day. Now, what happens is they realize that later this road has no interchanges, despite going through
the design that was first released. There were no interchanges.
There were no interchanges.
Yes.
Then later, another report was that the road had actually been now shifted. The final design was now going through some swamp. I think because of...
And they needed a very long bridge.
High cost of compensation of the other...
Yes. You remember we even had a case where some locals were suing because there was a magic old tree.
Yes.
And they needed more compensation.
So, but all this has happened while they have already handed over the site
to the
contractors, and they are paying them a daily charge of 300 million. Now that does not... The money that was allocated to the road, they do things. The contractors do some work, and the money that was allocated to the road is used up. And when they're at about 30%, there are conflicting reports. The government says 40%, but in real quantifiable work, some people say it's about 30% of work. But now, because there is no follow-up money to complete, still the contractors are on ground getting still 300 million per day.
By the way, this road is just 23 kilometers.
So you get to
23.
Wonder, does anybody who sits in these offices really think about Ugandans? And you see, let me tell you, Harold, and I'm not saying this out of anything, but I'm telling you that I would rather have a Walukaga who is committed. I was recently watching a documentary of Amin, and And honestly speaking, we'll talk about his brutality, his lack of education, his humanizing, his so many things. But this was someone who did things that the fundamental spirit behind everything that he did was that he loved Uganda. Yes, he did arbitrary arrests, he killed people.
That side is ugly.
That side is ugly, But the first and foremost conviction was everything that he did not expel Asians to take a factory of Madivani for himself. No, he did not do that, But you have elites here who are trying to nationalize the coffee, who are trying to say let's have one exporter of coffee that is feeding millions of households in Uganda. You have people in Busoga, where I've said it here before, just off the lake.
And when you uncover someone
Chinese brought in
connected to our first family is involved in that.
These are not even, we cannot even say these in innuendos or whispers or allegations. This is mainstream, And these are highly educated elites. They're scavenging off a system, scavenging off the local man. So the next people that are going to take this country to the next level, and I want to be on record, are not intellectuals, are not Harvard studied, are not have how many degrees. I'm not saying that is a disadvantage, and I'm saying that I'm saying that on top of your education and English and class and expertise and finesse, love the country, love Uganda, love that this expenditure is not being spent on nothing. But I'm glad the road is kicking off. I think it will reduce jam on the Massacre Road. And the interchanges.
The road is needed, but Nicholas, what we are discussing is for a road to shift from 547 billion, and there's an extra 1.9 trillion. That means the total cost of that road will be 2.5 trillion for a 23.7 kilometer road.
Do you know how much that
outweighs?
Do you know how much 2.7 trillion is a percentage of our GDP?
Of our GDP. Because that's a discussion that we should be having. So, and you see, this is loaned money. This week, it came to Parliament because there were two loans that were approved, one from ADB, the other one from ADF.
Yes.
To go and finance this.
ADF sounds like a rebel group, but African Development Fund.
Yes. Okay, the ADF, okay, the financial. To say that we need to finance, and that's when people came to know, but hey, what happened to this road? How does now the cost of each kilometer rise to 400 something billion? I have said it here time and time again that we lack strategic planning. And I've said it many times in relation actually even to roads and other sectors. So someone is going to roll out something today and will not think about what will happen in 2 years from now. But this one is different. This one was as if it was deliberate, because handing oversight would mean that you have designs ready. At least at the very, okay, you may not have figured out all the financing. I mean, this is, but by the time they finish up the initial financing, then you have gotten a loan from somewhere, or we are able to patch the hole from somewhere. But giving out 300 million, that is almost $100,000 per day. Let's not talk about health centers that can be.
Do you know how much 300 million can do in health center fours, or even some regional referrals that have no CT scans, that have no MRI machines? Sincerely, this was criminal, but I'm happy and
it goes unpunished. You see, that's a bigger issue. It goes unpunished because if we're talking about laws, the laws are there. The Solicitor General, the office is there. The Attorney General, PPDA has an act and 1,000 regulations, but still these things spill over. But we do not see people brought to book, and that's the bigger issue. And it's a taxpayer's money. Also, that has to be paid back because these are loans with interest that are being taken for something that should be beautiful, but it's taken away in the politics and the non-planning and the selfish ambitions of what we are talking about. But I'm afraid we have to go to our last topic, and which is also the PDM. Some money was released by the Mr. Money Will Come.
Yes.
The minister said money has come, and PDM money has been released. And on average, of course, many farmers would be benefiting, maybe on average of 1 million for the areas that will be receiving that package that was received. I just want you to discuss that in light of the government programs, the storyline from NADS to Operation Wealth Creation to now PDM, in charge of how the government is taking charge of the other sectors. Museveni has talked about the 4-acre models. then the coffee that we are talking about, the politicization of it, and then also the campaigns that come and fade of now vanilla, then we go for vanilla. Now this is it a political tool or something that is meant for development?
Well, thank you, Harold. And PDM, like you have said, is, I think, we call it third generation, because we had NADS, we had OWC, and now PDM. OWC considerably did some work, but you see, the question is at what is the percentage of the work that has been done vis-a-vis the coverage that was supposed to be covered. They gave seedlings, especially in our sector coffee. They gave out some seedlings to people. They did quite some work. The North, when the General Salim Saleh went to the North, has not become tillable. So many people have opened up farmlands. That whole region, after the bridge, after that Amuru region, Nyoya, Atiak, that whole place. So it achieved quite something, because it was not giving, for me, my biggest point of disagreement is giving cash to these people. And I'll talk about it in two ways. One, you don't give, if you give that money to people that are not in position, because for NAD, for you, Operation Wealth Creation and NADS, I think before, Operation Wealth Creation, what I'll talk about because it's what I really saw. To give you seedlings, you had to have land. I have tilled, I have land, 2 acres. I have tilled it, I have done holes, I have put manure, I now need seedlings for coffee. So they say, okay, every acre, what is your spacing? 10 by 10 every acre for 50 trees. So 2 acres, 900 seedlings. Go and receive seedlings. So you go and receive seedlings. They map out farmers according to sub-counties and parishes and what? Then they, seedlings come. Because now at this level, you're not giving someone cash. If this person give them the equivalent cash of 900 seedlings,
there will be a diversion.
It is going to, before you know if they have land, before you know if they have...
they are prepared to start.
And I'm talking about this because PDM money was released, the first installment, when myself, most of my work is in villages, in communities. And I could see the general excitement. Guys buying meat from the butcher because they have gotten a mealie. People in bars booming because they have now finally they can go and drink a cold Nilo. This money, the question is it trickling down to the effect that you want it to do? Because for me, instead of giving out handouts, in a place like Chitagata where I come from, aggregate that money that you're giving those sub-counties and do a community project. Let drugs be in hospitals. Make their road so that the farmers that are in Muhito and in those deep villages can bring their products cheaply. A sack of, say, coffee or bean from those villages to bring it to the closest town. The border man is going to charge them maybe 5, 6, 7K per sack. But if the roads were paved and they were made and this sack can come for 2,000, a farmer has saved and is encouraged to, to produce. So instead of putting physical cash into the hands of people that are unprepared, giving seed to someone whose soil is not prepared, that seed they are going to eat it. It's not going to become seed that they sow.
Isn't this a vindication of what cooperative societies were supposed to do?
You see, cooperative societies were not giving out cash to people.
And no, I'm talking about the mode that you're talking about of instead of handing out cash, deal with cooperatives. They know what they want to grow as per the region. If it's tobacco in West Nile, if it is coffee in Bale, what Bugisu was doing, if it's dairy in the West, deal with the cooperatives, let them deliver because they know the farmers that they are dealing with.
Actually, but of course, how the story how the cooperatives died. We shall not go into.
That's what I'm talking about.
And who killed the cooperatives and for what reason? See, these people have a mentality of they want everything, especially the man in the high castle. He wants to control every
chess piece,
every piece on the chessboard. He wants to be in control. So any middleman that wants to play the role of, now that's why now he's handing money to individuals. 1 million. This is 1 million. If this money was coming, for example, in form of incentives, like what? Like you say, the people in Greater Bushenyi, let's say, are mostly coffee farmers and tea farmers. So what inputs can we give them? Let money come in form of
Maybe seedlings,
fertilizer for the dairy people.
Those
maybe,
are their issues.
For the dairy people,
let's set up a vet. Let's empower the vet for the district to ensure if there are issues, they can reach out. Yes.
Extension workers. This money would have had more impact, but handing it down seems to come out as a political tool of government about the sente. Even about the sente. Yeah, everyone has gone home with money, irrespective of what they will do with the money. Now, that in the immediate is going to excite people, and they're going to. Which money has been paid back? Harold, we had a youth thing called what?
There are a lot. There are many because
was it Bonabaga? We have had so many things giving out loans, but the rate at which they are returned is almost close to.
We even had the teachers that could do that.
What the youth thing called? I forget it. Which was giving some money to the youth. They don't give money to the youth. Bring the services closer to them where you can say, these guys, can we take them to a garage? Can they learn furniture? Can they skilling? Let's skill them. That is what will get them out of poverty. But giving them money, trust me, the youth of Uganda of today, Museveni, and you just give them money on a Friday like today.
You know where they're going.
Trust me.
We have to close it at that. But I saw something that interested and that caught my eye, the data of usage of social media applications in Uganda. I thought I would read you this as we close the program.
Please.
WhatsApp has 9.2 million users in Uganda, which represents 31%. The traffic volume, GBs, it's 9.6 million. TikTok, second place, 9.1 million users. Instagram 1.5. Snapchat 1.9. Snapchat no business, it's for I don't understand Snapchat myself. Twitter, the ones that Museveni does not like, 1.3 million users. YouTube 6.4, that's 22%. Netflix, the account you are holding, 220,331, representing 1% of the users. I thought you would know that because it influences that also talks about where people get their information, what their interest is. And even some of these, what we're talking about this is that it's not like people are just doing it for entertainment for some. Because if it's TikTok, where your interest is the news that you will be receiving. It's YouTube, what you're going there to do. It's WhatsApp as main form of communication. Many people are opening and running their businesses on Instagram. We do not have statistics on Facebook, if you notice, because the government has had a way, and whoever accesses is through VPN, or if they are on Wi-Fi, that is not limited. But we thought we'd close the week with that. Thank you for tuning in. The sons and the daughters of the motherland, thank you for choosing us. We wait to see what is coming in the closing weeks of the year, but we'll be bringing you all that and summarizing everything that will be happening in the Pearl of Africa. Till next week, thank you very much.